G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to some more Monza racing. So we're going to do another race here at Monza. This of course is carrying on from me in the Nissan GTR last time around, but you see this time I've gone for the Ford Mustang. Now we actually improved our qualifying time in this car with a 49.0, so that's good. Every time you improve your qualifying time it's always a positive, but here we are in our spot on the grid in 7th place. So, the Ford Mustang I find more comfortable for me to drive, so that's why I've gone for it, because I was obviously having a difficult time trying to tame what the Nissan GTR is. An absolute monster. But here we go, just starting the race now, so let's see if the Craig Lowndes throwback livery can propel us to victory, like he did many times. We're in the slipstream of the other Mustang here, so he goes to the outside, it just leaves me a straight line, sailing right by him into turn 1. Let's see if any chaos ensues. We break down there, go just touch the back of the Nissan, and he manages to make a collision with another one. I get 2 seconds of penalties, and he comes on the track and just gets caught on my front end, and I end up going around under the gravel. I also get 2 seconds of penalty, probably for punting him into the other car there. So, well, I'm speechless really. It's exactly the same as my first race in the Nissan. If you watch that previous video, it'll be linked up in the card and in the description if you'd want to have a look at that. But you can see 17th place, really not good. A slide wide going through the second chicane there. But you can you can tell by the tone of my voice I'm not impressed at all. And I've got 2 seconds of penalties to also serve there. But you see the Ferrari's slow, he's sitting right in the middle of the track. I just don't know where he's going to go, and he just drives into the wall halfway through there and then ends up punting me off the circuit. What an idiot. Just nail in the coffin really. But you can see we're now in 17th, soon to be, well actually it's not soon to be last. He gets 3 seconds of penalties for punting me off the circuit. Now he's very slow. I think he was going to try and let me back past, but let me stay ahead, sorry, but that's obviously not how it works. Going to Ascari now, let's see what happens. He absolutely just loses it on the first curb, and then let's see, I think he quits at this point. He does. So I'm now in 17th to 17th by a fair margin of 3 seconds. So we're going to try and catch up as many positions as we can. So essentially it's a last to first 8-lap challenge, or last to question mark challenge over the course of 8 laps. You can see going through Parabolica, we get a load of oversteers. We just touch the inside curb. You don't want to really do that going through there, but you now see we're 2.5 seconds behind, and we're actually losing time going down the straight at the moment. But there, just as I speak, we're beginning to gain, or actually it's hovering around 2.53 seconds. So let's see what goes up into turn 1. I just saw a brief flash of yellow flag, so someone may be slow. No, I think they've recovered by the time I've gotten down here. But we get through turn 1 nicely, get on the power in first gear, and we manage to launch away from there quite nicely. But here we go, through Curva Biasino, Curva Grande now. So you can see in the map up the top, the lead has actually broken a bit of a gap from the guy in second place, and then it's pretty much a train from second down to last. You can see the train actually, the second chicane gives a good view of the track up ahead going into Lesmo 1. But let's just see what we can do. So Lesmo 1, we go through there nicely. Let's see, just monitor the gap above the flag on my name on the left hand side, so you can just see how I drive in comparison to the guy up ahead. So 2.3 seconds, or 2.2, 2.1, we gain a bit of time going through the second part of Lesmo 2, so that means we're going to gain time going all the way down the Seraglio straight. So we're now 1.8 seconds behind. Hopefully we managed to catch up a bit more of a gap. So is there going to be anyone off at Ascari? The answer is yes. We have a Nissan off, and I didn't quite catch what car. I think it might have been a Supra. So 2 cars off, we make up 2 positions now. Someone up ahead with the penalty, so that means they're going to serve that coming out of Lesmo 2 in the next lap. So we're probably going to make up that position, provided they don't make a mistake beforehand. But we're going to go into Parabolica now. Let's see if anyone manages to make a mistake by braking a little bit too late, as this corner really lures you into braking late. But we go through there nicely. So we're going to go, coming out of Parabolica, we're going to try and catch the slipstream of the Nissan up ahead. We saw how quick it was in the previous video, and I think we are in the slipstream. 7 tenths, 6 tenths, definitely in the slipstream now. So let's see how much, you can see how much time we gain up the straight. We were 8 tenths behind coming out of Parabolic, and we're going to manage to put a move on him just before the first chicane. So that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to get a good exit out of Parabolica and slipstream down the front straight, and that's really probably the best overtaking opportunity of the entire lap here at Monza. So up ahead, they're fighting quite a bit, 11th and 12th up ahead. So you can see 12th place actually has that penalty, and he manages to get a little bit out of shape, going through Curva Grande, and he just loses touch of the guy in 11th, H. Croy. So we're going to go through the second chicane now. Let's see, get the first apex nice, get the second apex nice. He loses it on the curb on the outside, and I managed to make my way up his outside. So that's what I was talking about before. So I was going to make up that position regardless, coming out of these few corners, but he managed to lose it all on his own, coming out of the second chicane. Coming through the second Lesmo, you can see someone up ahead also now has a 2-second penalty, so we're going to make up that position at least. So we're into 12th over the course of sort of a lap and a half, so we're going well at the moment. The only thing is about this sort of chain of events, so you actually, with all three of them, get bundled wide down at Ascari, so that's an absolute colossal error from all three of them, just sort of all caught up in a group and managed to make themselves fly off wide, so I make up 3 positions simultaneously. But as I was saying anyway, the sort of problem with this strategy here is that it's going to be really hard for me to feel safe as I'm really sort of pushing hard to try and catch up the positions. So coming out of Curva Parabolica, that rounds out lap 3 now. We're now 5.5 seconds off the guy in 8th place. So that's going to be a bit of a task to try and reel that in while trying to sort of not use too much fuel. So we're going to go into turn 1, and we're going to brake as usual, just on the 150 board. Of course, the tyre wear means I have to push that back, push that braking point back a bit. So on completely fresh tyres in qualifying conditions, I think you can brake just after it and still manage to make the corner. But we managed to go through here, so we actually make up 1.1 seconds going through there, and someone's actually slow going through Curva Grande there, so we managed to make up that position now into 8th place. So now 3.7 seconds off the guy in 7th, and he also has a penalty that he's probably going to serve coming out of Lesmo 2. Yellow flags, so that means there's someone off. It is I think that's a Honda coming out of the second chicane there, so we're now up into 7th, so that's really good. We're about halfway up the field now from last. 6th place is about to serve the penalty there, so I think, what did he have, 2 seconds? It might be enough to get him down the straight. We're now near enough 4 seconds behind, so you can see he's finished serving now. He's trying to get back up to speed, so he's ghosted. He just comes out of the ghost, so that means we're going to have to make a legitimate overtake. We're heading down here, it's a McLaren, so he's got quite good top end actually, and we just get side by side going into the braking point. I think I let him sort of go ahead, and he sort of slides wide all on his own as he was on the inside, so he broke a little bit too late to be on the inside. Gets another half a second of penalties trying to get through Ascari. Oh, so that is quite amusing for me. So we're going to try and go up the inside down Parabolica, which is obviously pretty stupid. So he goes wide. I thought, you've left it open, but he actually sort of comes back a bit, and I managed to make awkward contact. So that's a mistake, and I'm going to take the blame for that one. You can see I've slowed right down. I'm going to let him get past a Lamborghini Huracan goes past, of course the Group 3 version, and a Honda goes past, so down into 9th, or it might be 10th. Yes, it's going to be 10th when this Nissan makes his way past there. But you see, as soon as he gets ahead, I just dip into the slipstream, and we're going to, that's the last position we're going to lose going into there. But we managed to get up enough speed to go up the inside, side by side into the braking zone, going down into first gear. Nissan actually receives a punt, so he goes off the track, and we managed to get the Mustang there quite nicely. So 8th place, he's a second ahead of me, so if we keep sort of this distance to him when he serves his penalty, I'm going to be able to make my way past going down the Seraglio straight. You can see he's side by side with the Honda there. He just leaves the Honda enough room to keep 2 wheels on the track, so that's respectful driving. But I receive a punt going into the second chicane, and that is that. Get reset. So that's the other Mustang. He actually did get a penalty for that just as well, and he's going to serve that also going out of Lesmo 2 onto the Seraglio straight. Now, if it were me, I'd probably have the penalty zone coming out of Ascari, but anyway, just because Ascari is a quicker chicane, sort of a quicker sort of sequence of corners than Lesmo 2. You lose a little bit more time, I think, going through there. So he punted me, managed to make my way past, so he obviously just missed his braking point. So, you know, that's just lack of practice on his part. But you can see, lap 5, leader is in, he's got 13% of fuel, second place is in, he's got 22% of fuel. You look down at my fuel map as I put the right indicator on to let cars around me know that I'm going in. I've got 18% of fuel. So you see third place is in with, what is it, 15% of fuel, I think, yes? And second place fills up to 71%, if you just caught that before it disappeared off the screen. So we go through Parabolica, we're going to dive into the pits here. Honda goes in up ahead with his penalty, so we'll see where we come out relative to him. I think, what did he go in with, 6% of fuel, I think? That might have been him. But you can see we end up going in with 16%. 10th place fills up to 76%. We're going to change to a fresh set of racing medium tyres and get a whole load of fuel. So we'll see where we come out in relative position to that Honda. We just finished refueling. We're going to do 73% of fuel there. And is that the Honda up ahead? I think it is. So the gap sort of remained relatively the same. But I think he probably got out a bit further, to be honest. He probably did make up a bit of ground on me. But he goes side by side with, I think that's a McLaren going through the first chicane there. And that's going to lose them a bit of time. So you can see all three of them up ahead. Or it might be just a pair of them. Might be all three, actually, have penalties. So they're going to serve them. You guessed it, coming out of Lesmo 2. If I had $1 for every time I said that. But you see up ahead, it's just a sea of penalties coming into the second chicane. Brake just on the sort of gravel on the outside of the curb. You can see the Honda's off the track. He's off the track into the gravel, into the sand trap on the outside of the second chicane there. And you can see 9th place is preparing to serve his penalty. So we'll go through the sequence of the Lesmos now and see if we can make up 9th position. So the idea of the second half of the race, first half is really sort of steady driving, a little bit of fuel saving via short shifting to minimise time in the pit lane. But you see the guy in first place, he actually didn't stop on lap 5, he's stayed out an extra lap. Of course it's a completely viable option, I think. 3, 4, 5, 6, no it isn't, no. That took a bit of maths to work out, geez, that took some brain power. No, you really want to go in on lap 4 or 5. You want to go in lap 4 for the undercut, lap 5 for the overcut. So lap 6 is a little bit too late. You end up spending a little bit too much time on 2 worn tyres for that strategy to really work. So he's obviously gone for a bit of he's overcut the overcutters, which all of us, none of us really pit on lap 4. But coming out of Parabolica, we're now in the slipstream of the two-toned custom painted Nissan there, but you can see just how quick he is. Like, it takes a little bit of time for us to actually start gaining some significant ground on him. So we managed to not even make a move up into turn 1 despite being in slipstream all the way down the straight. Anyway, sorry, what I was saying before about the fuel, yeah, so first half of the race you want to fuel save a little bit, and then second half of the race you overfill a little bit so you don't have to fuel save for the second part of the race, which is really where you're going to make up most of the ground because you're going at sort of as fast as you possibly can, really. Of course, the only limitation being worn tyres. So second chicane, we brake a little bit too much, got a little bit too slow over the first one, but that means we have a better exit over the second one at least. So you see the McLaren up in 8th, just extends his half-second penalty to a full second by exceeding track limits, going through Ascari. So he's going to serve that just around the corner here. So we're probably both going to make up the position. Yeah, we definitely are. So he's serving, he just goes, and we managed to go straight through him. So going down Seraglio Straight, hopefully we make up at least one position. Maybe more, you know, if we're lucky. But breaking down into Ascari, I just touched the back of him, but he manages to keep it on the track, and I managed to avoid a penalty. So let's hope we manage to get past this guy going into turn 1 of lap 8, of course, the penultimate lap. So obviously what was in the forefront of my mind was, let's not have a repeat of the previous race or the last race in the GTR, where I absolutely binned it like a complete idiot going into turn 1 of the final lap. But coming out of Parabolica side by side, he's swerving all over the place. Obviously his controller is on a high sensitivity. We're side by side going up the main straight. you just see, I think, do I manage to pull out? No, it's really just remaining the same, but I think he just lets off the throttle a bit, tries to go in behind, but of course, a bit of hitbox problem there. Onto the 150 board, we brake exactly the same. You can see he remained in precisely the same position in the radar going into turn 1 there. But we get through there nicely. So we're going to monitor the gap behind now. So he's a second, 9/10 behind. So really one minor mistake and he's in slipstream, and he'll probably get past me going down the Seraglio straight, or the little straight before Parabolica. So we'll monitor the gap going through the first chicane here to second, 1.0 seconds. We hop over there. I just touched the gravel, and that's sort of the first little mistake at the second chicane I've made, really, all on my own. So you see that tiny mistake, it's made him catch up all the way to, it was 2/10 just before Lesmo 1 there, but it just extends out to 4 as we go in, as we enter Lesmo 2. I got a little bit deep, so that compromises my exit a bit. So he's going to have slipstream combined with my compromised exit. So let's see if he gets a move down the Seraglio straight here. But I don't think it's going to be enough. 2/10. Is he going to go for the move? No, he doesn't. You can just see, obviously I was referring to the radar there. You can see where he is down in the bottom right corner. We go through there quite nicely, actually. We get a good run through there. You can see we just extend that gap out a bit. So he's not going to be in slipstream. 1.2 seconds behind. So obviously I'm a bit better through Ascari than him. But hopefully we still finish the race in 8th place. 1.4 seconds it just went up to as we accelerate out of Parabolica there. He gets a little bit of a better exit than me, and we managed to lose a little bit of time to him, 1.2 seconds instead of 1.4. So I think as we just look behind there, he was way over to the right hand side of the track. But this is the final lap. This is where I wrecked it last time, but we brake precisely on the 150 board. Managed to make that corner nicely. A bit conservative through there, to be honest, but he's actually made a bit of a mistake going through there. 1.8 seconds behind me now as we begin, or as we sort of finish up the first third of the final lap. So I'm also monitoring the gap to the leader. That's the red number to the right hand side of my name on the left hand side of the screen. 40.6 seconds it was just then. So let's see where that gap is at the end of the race. But you see, just over the course of while I've been talking and while I've been trying to get away from Seotone in 9th, I've now got 7th place in sight. So let's see if we can get through the rest of the race and see how close we can get to him. So Leon Motorsports, so we're 1.9 seconds behind him. It was 2 seconds a few corners ago, so we're catching him. So he's obviously probably just timed his fuel a bit incorrectly, and he's probably got not quite enough fuel to finish the race. Me, on the other hand, I have 6% and less than a third of the lap to go. So I'm not too concerned about my fuel, but I'm concerned about the fact that I've just ran wide at Ascari, so that means any attempt at trying to get 7th place has just been absolutely ruined by me running wide. But as we go through Parabolica for the final time, you can just see I get through there smoothly, get on the power, a little bit of oversteer, but the car just manages to correct itself, and we get a nice run through there. So that means we're going to bring it home in 8th place. And I did lose 1.7 seconds to the leader, but obviously that's just for my personal, self-image, I suppose. So that's it. 8th place, and that's pretty good considering what were we down to? We were down to last at one stage. I think we were. So that's obviously not good. But we managed to get up to 8th, so I'm not gonna complain about that one. You can see there's me with my 8th place there, standing next to the lovely Vortex MTAA Super liveried Holden Ford Mustang. But that's the end of the video for today. And that means that is it from me. So once again, if you do like my content, please subscribe. It's not going to hurt you. It just means you get a nice video every now and then. And I'm going to try and get 2 videos a week. We're going to try and do that. Please the algorithm, and please any of the people that like to watch my videos. But that is the end of the video, and that means that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.